go.
Noon. This is Bob Williams, Robert's Violin and Bow Service in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Today is July 17th, and we are progressing with the next violin, which is all laid out here. The ribs are done, and the wood just came in for the back and the front and the neck. And this is going to be a copy of a Guarneri del Gesu 1735, which is a poster photograph of the original violin in full size. So the process is going to be laborious and exciting. This violin has a one-piece back, which is this is the way it looks.
Hold it up. Hold it up.
Which
Show how it comes.
This is how the block comes.
Sideways. Can I see the side angle?
This is how it comes, split from the log. This is Bosnian maple, and it has a nice figure in it. So I need to straighten up the drawing so the lines are parallel, and then it's just cutting it out roughly and carving it to the shape of a violin back, which will look like this.
Hey, what about this other piece? The other piece that came today.
This piece here is, of course, the top, and it's two pieces instead of a single piece, which means it'll be glued together once the edges are jointed, so it ends up being a roof, like roof shape.
So show how it comes cut off the log.
When it's shipped, it'll come in two pieces like this, and then they cut it through with a large saw blade and leave part of it uncut so the two pieces stay together. So you split these two pieces off, and then you have a book match of European spruce that forms the top. This is the part that will have the F-holes, and that's
you
what
have to
normally
carve
see.
all of that.
This all has to be carved just
And
like
then
the back.
And then that'll look like that when you're done.
Right.
Okay, then what?
And then after that's done, of course, we have a block here for the neck, and this is how that comes. I've had this before, so I didn't order it right away at the same time. Anyway, this is a kind of an outline of what the neck will be like, and that has to be carved into the shape of that.
Okay, so here I go.
So
Step one.
So step one is completed. The ribs came with it, and I've already glued and formed them in a last or a mold, and that will be the shape of the
Can you take that
violin.
Off you take this off?
So this is a special type of mold that I use that breaks down in three pieces, so I can actually pre-attach the one side and before I take the mold out of it. So I'll just show you. Last time I showed you how the plates were roughed out, and so now we're getting some progress. What I have here on the table is the bottom plate to the violin, the maple, which originally looked like this in contour form. Now it's all been cut out based on these templates here, which match each of these lines, such as this here is the arch of the center line, like that, and then each of these little side templates are shaping the contours of the top, and so forth. So we got this roughed out. It's not in the final stages yet. The next stage, of course, is the purfling, but this is the shape it's coming to be as I do it kind of a rotate view. So you can see it's starting to get the shape of a violin.
How did you carve it?
Okay. Now,
Put it over
to
on-
see the work and effort that went into getting it to this state, come over to my workbench and look at all the sawdust, wood chips that took, plus the tools, the gouges it took to get it to this state. This is all hand carved using very sharp gouges, scrapers, tiny little planes. Since there's nothing flat on this, it's all curved, we have to use small violin planes to cut the material off the top. So I have these tiny little planes that have rounded bottoms, and that's for going into these areas here, cutting off removing the material. And then the rest of it is done with scrapers like this, and gouges like this, all the way to something small. So these are the tools of the violin luthier when he carves a violin by hand. So the next stage is sprinkling a little sawdust on top of the plate. So the next stage is going to be putting in the border purfling, which looks as a very thin strip of wood. It looks like this.
Where does it go?
And it is cut and embedded around the perimeter of each plate, the top and the bottom plate. And that has to be cut in and bent, and that follows all the way around the shape of the violin. It's for decorative purposes, and also it prevents cracking on the edge, and it's glued in, and and there's a little artwork to it because of where the points meet.
So how much time have you spent on just carving this piece?
So-
About 3 8-hour days?
At least. And like I say, it is at the rough state right now. It's not final. It needs to be sanded and any of the humps or bumps taken out. And so once that is done, then we can set it up to cut the groove to put this. Bob Williams at Robert's Violin and Bow Service. We're giving you an update on the progress of this Guarneri violin. As you saw last time, you saw the pieces of wood, and so what I have done at this far is I joined the two pieces by gluing them on the seam because they were just two halves, and they were glued this way. And this morning I cut out the pattern, so you had a piece like this, and this is the shape, the rough shape of that plate for the top. It's still got that wedge shape right now, so I have a lot of material to cut off, and that's all going to be handwork. But this is the basic outline of the top of the violin. Okay, this is the European spruce. It's a little softer wood, and before I had a big slab of maple, and I had cut that out, and that's the shape of it. And I'm using a contour cutting method to get the arching of that plate, and I will do the same with the other one. And this tells me how to cut the shape. This one is the actual finished shape, the final edge shape of the bottom of the violin, and and this is kind of the outline with the center line going up there. The same thing will be done with this one. So basically, at this point, we have the bottom and the top of the violin. So, we will keep you posted as I continue to shape this. So that's all I have for now.
Are you
Stay
having
tuned.
fun?
Well, certainly.
Hibernating in the heat?
When
July
you have air conditioning, you don't complain.
And this is July 29th?
Yep. Bob Williams, Robert's Violin and Bow Service, and we are continuing with the Guarneri violin construction. And today we are doing the purfling on the back plate, and we'll show you a picture of what that looks like. This is the inlay on around the border, and this is what it looks like when you buy the sticks. Very, very thin, and it's a laminated piece. Okay.
It's made out of ebony?
Usually it's ebony and ash, laminated in 3 colors in that, and then that becomes your border. Okay, and the way that is put in is we cut a groove all the way around at the same width as this purfling is, and then we take the purfling, which comes in 3-foot lengths, and we have to heat bend it to conform to the curve in each section of the plate. And that is such as this here, and then bending this arch, this curve, and then these here. And the way that's done is I have over here my heat bending machine, which consists of a heat gun and a pipe, and it diverts the air up through this tube. And this is a piece of purfling that I have bent, and the way that's done is we dip it in water, get it moist, and then we use this back plate so we don't break it, and then as this gets hot, the right temperature, we just work around here until the heat penetrates through the purfling, and then we are able to bend it into whatever shape we want. Okay, then once that's done, then we go over and fit it to see that it corresponds, such as like right here. For instance, if I'm trying to get this, so you can see that this piece would have to be bent more to conform, but that's the idea. Anyway, that's what we have done today. The next step will be the top plate, and we'll have more videos on that when that happens. Have a good day.
Cool.
Good morning, everyone. This is Robert from Robert's Violin and Bow Service, and it's been probably a couple months since I've continued this violin making process due to other circumstances. Anyway, I want to bring you up to date and continue with the construction of this violin. Right now, we have both the back and the top plate finished. It's called the graduating. This is the back, this is the maple, all one piece, and this is the top, which will have F-holes cut in it, and that they both have the border purfling in that, and this is the basic finished shape of the top. As you look at it, this is what we have to, this is the shape we have to get on both plates, in that, and finished. And the same with the back, or the bottom. So this stage is done. Now we begin the most crucial part of the building, and that is the graduating of the plates to get the right thickness so we can get the best sound possible out of both plates. And the way that is done is if we flip these over, I have templates called graduating maps, and what we're after is on this drawing here, we're trying to get these thicknesses throughout the plate. This is the top and this is the bottom, and then over here on this drawing is a CT scan of how the plates look from a cross section, bottom and top, and these are line drawings of these. So this is what we're attempting to accomplish, and all the thicknesses have been calculated based on the original, and I have since made these maps with these various graduation dimensions and transferred them onto each plate. And so the next step is the hollowing process, or graduating process. And the way that is done, if we go over here to my drill press, which is set up as a graduating machine, what we do is we take each thickness on the map, we use a feeler gauge, and we adjust the depth on that, and we run the plate based on this map. So if I start in the middle, I'll set it on here and drill holes around here at the predetermined depth, and then change that depth as I move out to the edges. So that's the graduating process. Now what the drill is doing is indexing how deep they are, how much material I have to take out, and the rest of it's handwork. So this is the process I will be working on until the next time, and then after the graduating is done on this top plate, I will demonstrate cutting out the sound holes, or the F holes as we call it, and then continuing with that. Then after that is done, we'll go to the next step, soon to be determined when we get to that point. So I say goodbye for now, and we'll see you next time.
What date is it today?
Oh, it is the 28th of October, and I guess that's my 73rd birthday today.
2019.
2019, yes, I better get the date in there. Anyway. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bob Williams at Robert's Violin and Bow Service. Haven't been around for a while. It's probably been about 6 months since I last video, but we're back into trying to finish this violin, and I want to take you to the next step.
Which violin is that?
And this is violin number 3 that I'm building. This is a Guarneri del Gesu style of 1735 copy. And so the last video I did, I showed the 2 plates, the front and the back. And the difference is the top plate, I just got done finishing the F holes. And that's the sound holes in the plate. That took probably about 4 hours of carving to get those precision.
And where's the tool that you use?
And that's done with a drill press and a fret saw and a knife. All handwork. All handwork. And then the other thing I've done with this plate is I've hollowed it out to the right, close to the right thicknesses, and it just needs some cleaning out and all that. And check the thicknesses, and we'll tap tone it to see. And then the next step with this plate is to clean up the inside in here, and then we put a beam, or what they call a base bar, which is a stick like this that runs fore and aft, or back of that top plate. Now obviously it has to be cut to conform to the arch of the inside, and then it has to be tapered to get the right sound. So that's the next step. The back plate is yet to be hollowed out and has all the graduations done. So once those two are at that state, then we work on the neck. And this is the profile of the neck, and it's a lot of work. And of course, earlier I showed you this is the last, or the frame of the violin mold, of which these plates fit. So that's where we're at, and we'll continue to update you.
And the date is?
And let's see, today we are dealing with the first part of June. And
2020.
2020. So it's been about 6 months. So anyway, bye for now, and we'll see you as we progress. Hello everyone, this is Bob Williams at Robert's Violin and Bow Service, and we have another episode of Violin number 3 that I'm building, and I wanted to show you where we're at that stage and what is next. Last video we showed the 2 plates. Now we have the F-holes cut in the top plate, and the back was already done. So what we've done with this from the last is we shaped the beam that goes under here. It's called the base bar, and we've also hollowed out both plates to the proper thickness. That thickness is done with this caliper here. As we put it in, and we can measure as we cut down in depth what those measurements need to be. And so that helps me get uniformity. This is the most important part of violin making, because this is where the sound comes. This is the aspect of what makes a good violin from a bad violin. Okay.
The noise. How you make the noise.
And one of the ways we do the tuning is when we get it the right thickness, we use our ear. This is the way they did it 300 years ago. And we listen for the tone. And we try to match that like on a piano or a pitch pipe or electronic tuner, and to see, and we want to get these 2 plates close to a half step. See, and the maple sounds different. And that. So as I remove material, I try to get those tones within the spectrum that I'm trying to achieve. So what we've got now is 2 finished plates as part of the box. That's all finished. The thicknesses are as best as we can get them. And of course, the next step, of course, is to assembly on the box after the neck is built. So basically what we have here is, here's the frame. Originally the top goes on the top of the frame like this, like that, and then obviously the back is going to be on like this. That all gets glued together. So we're not at the stage of pulling the mold out yet, because we still have the neck to build and to notch that in into the frame and to shape it, of course. So that's where we're at. The next episode is going to probably be later in the fall. We're going to be gone for a while, and hopefully we'll have this violin completed before Christmas.
What day is it today?
And oh yeah, today is Friday. I don't know what day it is.
The Friday before Father's Day, so
there we go.
19th maybe?
Yeah, there we go. So anyway, that's where the hours go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Go.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Robert Williams at Robert's Violin and Bow Service for another exciting episode of violin making here in Arizona in triple-digit heat, but not in the shop, of course. What we're going to do now is I want to show you the steps that I take to build the neck and how it's going to attach.
and all the work that's involved. And so what I've done is I've laid out templates and blocks and have a finished product. So what we're after is, of course, something to hold the violin with a fingerboard. And the way it comes is it comes in a solid block, and then we use a pattern like this to cut out the profile. Okay? So, but we still have a pretty thick block, and then we have other templates for getting the shape of the actual scroll that goes around. This is a template for that. So we have to have center lines and all that, and then we have jigs for the as the neck tapers down, we have thickness necks here with this jig. And then of course we have a fingerboard with the nut attached, and this is semi-finished. It's been hollowed out, but there's a lot of work to be done as far as they're usually oversized, and we want to get it down, lighten it down, and get it to the right thickness. So these are the components. Now here is the finished neck. Okay, now that we have that, unless we put hours and hours of carving in here, this is what we end up with on a finished neck. You have the scroll cut, which is all done by hand. You have the peg box hollowed out and the holes pre-drilled, undersized, and then of course we've tapered the whole neck, and the fingerboard follows that same line. So you're coming from this to this. This is what we're after. So once these dimensions and the thickness is correct in that, the next step, of course, will be fastening this to the body of the violin. And I can only just show you because I haven't started that. That's another video. But that neck is going to be mortised. Good afternoon. This is Bob Williams from Robert's Violin and Bow Service again. And this is kind of be the final video of this violin that I'm building until in the fall when I return. Anyway, I'm going to show you the progress, and what we're going to have here is something that looks like a violin as we take the clamps off. So what I have here, let me back up. What I showed you in the last video was the building of the scroll of the neck and shaping it. And as you can see here, it's been attached to the body. And also we did a little decorative piece of ebony here, which is traditional in the crown. And that gives it, this is close to the original. And then this neck has been glued in to the body, and the back has actually been glued on already. And these clamps are violin clamps, and I just got done gluing on the top. So we actually have a box now, and the way these come off is you just loosen them up, pull the clamps off, and then we'll see if we got a good bind. So we have a little bit of glue cleanup to do, but since it's water soluble, that's not a problem. So with these clamps off, you'll get an idea to see what this instrument is actually going to look like. You're beginning to see the shape already. Kind of like taking out hair curlers, isn't it? But that's what it takes to properly
Permanent
seal.
wave rods.
Permanent wave rods, exactly. Okay. So we'll flip it over and get these. Okay, now that the clamps are off, this now is a violin box. As you can see, you've got the maple back and the top. And we have the neck, and the fingerboard has been removed. And the reason I do that, of course, is when we're going to finish it, you know, in order to finish underneath that, we have to have the fingerboard off. But that's what it'll look like once it's glued back on, and then we set it up to play. So right now, it's not playable, it's just the shape of a violin. Okay, so this is where we're at. I just got to clean the